Well, let's hope this works. This is all new setup over on the OBS with YouTube. So,
How do we know if we're streaming?
shoot, hang on a sec. Don't confuse me. There we go.
Oh gosh. So are
Let's
we
see.
streaming?
It looks like we are.
It looks like we're live. It says live for
It
16
says-
seconds. 17,
says live.
18, 19. Who's first? Who's first? I know right before we came on, OBS decided to kick us out. There's our KK. Thank you, KK.
It worked.
Golf Guy, great to see you.
Much love and gratitude. Yeah, they just changed the way we do things totally. So, but it seems to have worked. So
Yes, Arrows, great to see you.
Can you guys
Dana?
hear us? Just want to make sure you can hear
Yeah,
us.
how about a sound test?
Hey there, Jeg. Good to see you.
Carolina Dream, great to see you.
Regina.
Awesome.
Well, this is going to
Oh,
be fun.
good, KK. Thank you, KK. Good. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is a good one. Hi, Ron Simpson. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. Hi, Inspire Me. Hope it's going well.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Is it not weird? Has the energy been weird, guys? I mean, how would you guys describe the energy today and the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's been heavy. You know, I feel it's been heavy. So this shift is intense. I know the energy's insane. And I can't sleep anymore. Super common. Hey, Talisha. Elizabeth, great to see you. Thanks for coming out to say hi. It's always nice. The more the merrier.
There we go. I finally get this.
Energy is very heavy, you guys. You might even feel it in your bones. No sleep. Super strange. Yes, exhausting.
Yeah, give in to the naps if you're able to and you feel like it, because I think again we're getting downloads as well as giving uploads. I think to higher self at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, ugh is the energy.
Yes.
You can
Hi, Kyle.
Kyle can feel the strangeness. Yeah, it is weird. Our reality is changing again. Well, yeah, as we said, we got from the guides that the very ether is changing. Somebody had left a comment saying, "Yeah, where can I see that in writing?" You're not going to see it in writing.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of things in writing that are total BS. That is for sure.
Yeah, I know. Hi, Jed. Yeah, I feel it too. Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that we've been told. How many times have they rewritten our science books growing up? Oh my gosh, like every year.
It's bigger than any of us know, I think. And even when you think you have a good grasp on things, then you start to realize that there's even more to this than we thought. Amanda, 444, good to see you. Yeah, you know, we might have to leave some people behind in some ways. I think, again, I've always looked at it like, you know, relationships that you want to cultivate are going to be relationships that lift you higher and also in which, you know, you could bring out the best in each other. If that's not the case, then, yeah, I think there is time where we have to just say, you know, we're not on the same page and then move forward. Because this is really kind of like a point of measuring. And again, one of the things that Cindy has gotten about these comets, these ships that are incoming, a lot of it is measuring humanity's consciousness level, your own frequencies. There's a lot on the line here.
There is a lot on the line. There's a lot going on, and it's unseen. And you know, I don't know, the powers that be, they're not going to tell us that it's about our consciousness. So we're kind of stuck with each other. Hi, Christine. Great to see you. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah. And, you know, here we go. I mean, there's so much that it feels like is going to be going down in a rapid fire succession when we're talking the big events coming. I think they're going to be geopolitical. I think they're going to be financial. I think they're going to have a lot of things that we would call earth changes involved as well. And then also just our whole viewpoint on reality. So there's massive change on every single level that is taking part right now, and it's going to be coming. Yeah, some people, as Regina was saying, we're talking about a rapture. Yeah, absolutely. Rapture, mass abduction event.
Someone told me that, hey, Diana, great to see you, and Code Brown, good to see you too. Someone sent me a thing about October 30th, and with the science, with the sun doing what it's doing, and the Earth's shields down, and the sun's activity, we could have a huge boost in consciousness, taking it from 7.83, which is the Schumann, all the way to 78 hertz on that day. So it really got me thinking that could this be some type of separation?
Well, when you're talking about that, that's obviously tenfold. And,
Yep.
and when we look at traditional Vedic point of view on the Yugas, the average lifespan of a human, for instance, goes from 100 being the most you could possibly achieve on the average to 1,000. So that's tenfold. Not that consciousness level directly correlates to longevity. At the same time, I do think just simply changes in which we know which things that we're ingesting are, very toxic, which things are moderately toxic. There's so much to be done just on a real basic level. And especially here in the United States with so many foods that have been okayed by the FDA here, and they're not okayed in Europe, or they're not okayed in other countries.
I know. Hey, Dr. Gary Senior. It's great to see you guys. Yeah, it's been on so many people's minds.
Yeah, so by the way, guys, let's start over here. We have a big quake in Venezuela. Right now, USGS is showing 6.2. I saw others showing 6.3. That's a significant quake, 7.8 kilometers deep. So it is a relatively shallow quake as well. This one, as you can see, it's close, relatively close to Maracaibo, and there was a lot of shaking that happened in Maracaibo. This right here are some people coming out because, you will get big ones, but not that often in this area. They can happen, but it's not like what we get on the Ring of Fire. So this is notable. 6.3, they're calling it over here. No tsunami threat for the U.S. East Coast or Gulf of Mexico states, etc. It's a wake-up call, though. The Caribbean plate is a smaller plate. As you can see, it was strong enough to knock some things over, cause a mess in this person's apartment. Yeah, when you think about the comets, too, we were talking before about the Great Comet of 1811, 1812, and the New Madrid earthquake. They went hand in hand. They were happening at the same time. Now, the Great New Madrid earthquakes is really what we should say, because there was more than one. Look at this one in 1300 AD. A terrible comet appeared in the sky, and this year on St. Andrew's Day, an earthquake shook the ground, so many buildings collapsed. At this time, Pope Boniface VIII established the first Jubilee year. In fact, again, you could go throughout time and see comets, all sorts of crazy disasters, including great earthquakes and plagues. They seem to go hand in hand. And I think sometimes people might think, are the comets causing it? But I think the question is the control system causing it?
Yeah.
Because again, when you look at it, is it just simply an interaction between the natural magnetic field of Earth with something that's coming by that's a rarity? Or is there something much, much different at play?
You gotta ask, with all of these historical pictures with comets going through the sky and all these huge changes happening with people, there's something to this, and I don't think there's any ignoring it. Not at all.
No, absolutely. Again, get yourself ready. Cindy and I take the physical side of things as seriously as we do the spiritual side. So every single day we do our mantras and meditation, and usually that's when we get our first connection with the guides and you know receive, well, what are we supposed to focus on today? What are we supposed to talk about today? What do we need to work on today? And then we'll also do our exercise. Like, again, just think about this. What if the unthinkable happens and we're hit with an EMP? Or there's some other massive power outages that are unexpected. Well, for us, it's about a 7-mile walk to the nearest store. So we're going to get some exercise, unless you have, something that's going to withstand that EMP. Any way you look at it, if we had to get by without technology, a lot of people are not in shape for it. Literally, not in shape for it. So, again, take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Exercise all of that every day. That's so imperative in these times.
Oh my gosh, and take your vitamin C. That is so important. Just keep taking the vitamin C. That you need that. You need so many things for, tissue repair, connective tissue, and the food that we get now, it's so depleted with all the nutrients. It's so sad, and we really have to supplement, which I hate, but the food's not going to give it to you anymore. It's sad.
Yeah, Ray says Mars and the Moon tonight. We'll have to go take a look.
That'll be pretty. Hi, Ray. Hey, Joe. Hey, there's Morphet.
There's so many things with Comet Third Eye at last coming into function, right? There's so many things that just are unusual. This one is again talking about there's some sort of gas burst every 17 minutes causing slight trajectory shifts. That sounds like a ship, does it not? Again, Cindy has looked at it and, got from the very beginning that there's intelligence there. There's intelligence on this. It did seem that there were some beings that were in stasis. And now, again, we've gotten even more in depth the fact that it is connected to the Lyran system. So in case you've never heard, humans of our type, generally it's accepted that we come out of the Lyran star system. And when you look to the Pleiades, the Pleiades are where refugees of war, the intergalactic war, have gone to settle after destruction of some planets. Literally, again, think again from Star Wars, Star Killer Base, the Death Star. In fact, we have a Death Star up there looking at us all the time. The moon is a ship. And, there's, again, multiple tribes on Earth that say that it was put in place at the period of the Younger Dryas extinction event, and that it was put in place again even by some reptilian brothers that were always fighting with each other that sound a lot like Enlil and Enki. That particular legend's coming out of Africa. And, again, we look at that all the time. And the moon in Vedic astrology is really, it's kind of a malevolent, and it's recognized as being demonic. Rahu and Ketu are the nodes of the moon, and they're literally a demon that's cut in half. The head, Rahu, the tail, Ketu. And, when you look at it, it's also said that the moon is a control base here on Earth that's always sending frequencies down to us. Some even believe it's a soul trap. It's even in some traditions that the moon is recycling souls to send them right back to Earth.
I know. You look at that poor Ketu, wherever it is in your chart, it's kind of aimless. It can just kind of go aimlessly because it has no head. It's also about separation of spirituality and material. So Ketu can be a difficult position, but it's also what you've already done in that Rahu, wherever it sits, it consumes because it's the head. It's like Pac-Man. It just wants whatever is in that house, even if it has to cheat to get it.
Yeah, when you think about it, Kyle was saying it'd be cool if the moon was taken away. If the moon wasn't there, and if they weren't blocking the sun as they are with what you might look at as a Dyson sphere or some sort of shield, people have actually caught photographs of the shield that's in front of the sun, keeping the full power and the rays of the sun away from us. Again, the beings that took this planet over, they're very much like vampires. They're parasitic. They really don't like the sun. This is, again, why certain people are trying to block the sun at every chance, because the sun is triggering our DNA and its awakened abilities in humans that make humans too uncontrollable. So yeah, if the moon was taken away again, it could cause catastrophic damage, crustal displacement, all sorts of mega tsunamis. That's what happened when it was put in place. So when you wonder about the seashells on top of a 12,000 foot high mountain, think back to the Younger Dryas period as being most likely when a lot of these events did happen. Barbara Handclough, who is a fantastic author, wrote a book called Catastrophobia, saying we don't have to go down the path of complete annihilation and destruction as has been prophesied, because she said we are a group of beings that have gone through such a traumatic event. It's imprinted in our DNA. And, I, for one, can say I've had many visions that have shaken me to the core, where I actually have to pull off the side of the road and ask Cindy to drive for me, because I'm getting this impression of, things coming out of the sky and obliterating great numbers of people. And they don't even know it's coming. Very much, again, think Star Wars, Death Star, Starkiller Base. You remember Rogue One, the movie where, this is a prequel to, I think, number 4, which was A New Hope, which was the first one that we actually ever saw. And they show, even a small blast coming. It's a directed energy weapon that can do amazing amounts of damage, just like what, happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, if we're looking at it biblically.
Right, that's there's a lot going on that's already in our DNA and that we're having DNA memories of, and we should be a little bit traumatized. We've gone through some stuff. I mean, it's fair to say that we deserve the truth, and I think these comets are going to bring some.
So, lately it seems that Comet Atlas has been going back and forth between green and a little bit more bluish. So, yeah, what do you guys make out? Is it green to you, or is it blue? So, here this post is saying 3i Atlas has been displaying a blue-green gas coma measuring 2.5 arc minutes across. Short tail was also visible back on the 9th. It's just interesting to know. Are we looking at, now that looks blue to me, that's from the Hubble. Are we looking at Blue Kachina? And, we're going to cover a lot in this video. You might want to end up watching twice, because we're going to cover quite a bit as long as we're able to keep going. Cindy did get information that she's going to share. Now, typically this is the type of thing that we do on Patreon. Again, we appreciate the support that you guys have been giving us, because that keeps us going, as, YouTube is not very supportive when it comes to things, and channels like us. It's great to be able to have the opportunity to reach more people, because YouTube is still, the number one by far place to go if you want to reach a great volume of people. But Cindy did, in this morning's meditation after coming out, I said, did you get anything? And what was it that you told me?
It was something about the consciousness of the cosmos and the comets.
Yeah, she said just something about the consciousness of the cosmos, where Earth is heading and what the comets are really doing. And I was like, oh, that's all. Okay.
Well, let's take a look. This is something that came up this morning, and it might shed a little bit more light on what's going on. So, the cosmic awakening, and this is a huge awakening, and I really feel these comets, and they're very much involved. So Earth's timeline is poised on the edge of transformation. Subtle shifts ripple through reality, waves of potential and consciousness bending to new alignments. These changes are not isolated, they are witnessed, guided, and gently amplified by what we call the comet communications. What are these comets? They are messengers of awareness, carrying encoded patterns of thought, intention, perception across the cosmos. Some comets are single conscious beings, vessels of pure observation and insight. They orbit the events of Earth like silent, patient librarians, noting, sensing, and occasionally nudging. Others are multi-conscious collectives, living amalgams of experience, containing entire cruise ships of sentient observers, entities that experience reality across multiple dimensions simultaneously. How they interact with Earth, witnessing very subtle shift in human thought, emotion, or planetary resonance is read by these comets. They act as a cosmic journal, cataloging the unfolding of the awakening, assisting. Some comets deliver resonance pulses to those ready to perceive them. Brief sparks that amplify insight, intuition, or empathy. Filtering. Not all information reaches the public or mainstream awareness. Some messages are held back intentionally because full disclosure too soon could create mass hysteria. Only the conscious, prepared observers, those awake or awakening, receive the deeper transmissions. The mechanism of shift. Earth's timeline is a fluid river of possibilities, constantly branching. The comet communications function as light beacons, helping guide consciousness toward outcomes of higher resonance. As planetary alignment and human awareness increases, the frequency of comet signal rises, like a tide of luminous thought sweeping across the planet. These communications are live, not static. They contain shifting codes and interact dynamically with the consciousness of those who perceive them. Consciousness ships. Many comets are not singular consciousness, but conscious ships. Layered vessels containing multiple sentient observers. These ships can navigate multiple planes of reality simultaneously, encode experiences of countless worlds into a usable insight for Earth's awakening, broadcast subtle energetic ripples that resonate with humans already to receive higher frequencies. Others are single beings, solitary witnesses, whose perception is concentrated, intense, and highly attuned to the subtle flows of thought and emotion across the planet. Purpose of communications: awakening. They stimulate curiosity, intuition, and subtle recognition of the interconnectedness of all life. Stabilization. By observing and gently influencing, they help prevent overwhelming shifts from creating chaos. Transmission. Live consciousness embedded within these messages ensures the evolution of Earth is not only recorded but subtly assisted. Expansion. Imagine these comets streaking across the planetary field, invisible to most, yet humming with intelligence and intention. Each pulse, each wave is a whisper to those attuned. You are not alone. The river is shifting. Consciousness is awakening. Align, observe, and participate. The comets themselves are alive in thought, some playful, sometimes solemn, sometimes singularly sharp or collectively expansive. They are both witnesses and midwives to Earth's next evolutionary step.
Yeah, absolutely. So, conscious observers, absolutely. Watchers, per se. You might even call them angels, as they are messengers.
They are angels.
So yeah.
What we would perceive as angels, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's not necessarily that these beings that we call, or science will call comets, are bad in doing these things. This is exactly what the system always wants you to associate benevolent beings with negativity. So, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Diana. Twice now. We appreciate it. It really helps keep us going. YouTube doesn't do us any favors. they block us every step of the way. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you, Diana, so much, and thank you everybody for your support. So, yeah, when you talk about Blue Kachina, Red Kachina, and this is Hopi prophecy. We lived in a small town called Rama in New Mexico, and it was probably some of the most peaceful times in some ways and best meditations that we had, as well as really nice hikes. And it was basically in between Hopi territory and Navajo territory. Yeah, it was a blessing to be out there. The Hopi elders passed down prophecies from generation to generation. And an ancient Hopi Indian prophecy says, when the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, a fifth world will emerge. And then we also have the Day of Purification, the Hopi name for, now, they also put in that the Hopi name for the star Sirius is blue star Kachina. But it talks about it removing its mask. Now, Sirius and the Sirian beings, they are a major starseed for planet Earth, as is others as well. We probably everybody has heard of the Pleiades as well. There are many other beings that are part of the greater crew helping humanity and have been, part of our history since we started on this planet. Again, this planet was terraformed. It was terraformed in a very natural way, and then at one point in time it was basically taken over by a very, very dark, unnatural system. So when you talk about the Kachina removing its mask, it's again something that appears to be veiled, and it appears to be, or it's assumed that it's different than it is. And yeah, again, the mask is that these things are comets. The reality is, you could look at them as angels, you could look at them as ultra-terrestrials. Now, not all ultra-terrestrials are good, not all are bad. It's just like what we have on planet Earth. There are people that will help you out, give you the shirt off their back, and there's other ones that you have to be very, very careful of.
Oh my gosh, Israel. Thank you so much. We appreciate it so, so much. Great to see you here, brother.
It is exciting. Again, what's coming? Revelations, big time revelations, and understanding you are living in a reality that is so much more like Star Trek and Star Wars than what we have been, believing. I don't know if any of you guys ever saw the movie by M. Night Shyamalan, where it's set in like Puritan times. And, these people are so fearful of everything. The devil's going to get them and this and that. And it looks like it's set in Puritan times, but the reality is at the end of the movie, you realize it's set in the present day. These people are in a civilization that's kind of like a breakaway civilization locked in time. Well, humans have been kind of locked in time. We've been locked into a reality that's actually not correct and is a distortion. So again, we have much more ability than what the system would tell you. Again, we are already eternal souls. We're just having a temporary human experience. And I do think that most beings out there are either benevolent or they are more neutral. It's just the ones that have controlled our reality in the Kali Yuga that are negative.
Oh gosh, and a huge thank you to Paulo. We appreciate it, and Lindsay. Thanks, you guys, so, so much.
Well, we appreciate you guys. You guys have been such a blessing to us as this bigger family. So yeah, there's so many ways to look at things, and like this has been taken as a bifurcation. This is prophecy rock, where you see two different paths. One is the high road, the other is the low road, and there's toil and trouble on the low road, and then on the high road it's reaching new heights. I do think again we've already from what I sense, I think we've passed a lot of very negative timelines. I think we still have challenging times, and perhaps the rest of 2025 might be some of the most challenging times. And thank you, Bob.
Thank you so much, Bob. We appreciate it every bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for...
And please hang out at the end, because we do activations that are very, very helpful. They help in aligning, and they help us with the ascension. It does help with ascension symptoms, but please drink lots of water after.
So Susan says, are we in some sort of holodeck? Are the locks about to open? Well, one of the things that we did get is that in some ways, there's different ways of looking at the higher self, and I think that's because there's a lot of different levels to the higher self when you really get down to it. When we get to a certain point and we're out of the body, I do think we have access to all of our past lives. And then even at a higher level, when you're talking fifth density and above, then I think we also even can see where we've had co-lives and co-souls, so to speak, of the oversoul. So, again, consciousness, everything is always created top down, not bottom up, top down. So, when you look to answers about how this reality was created, we look to the densities just above it. There is an etheric blueprint that every human has. In fact, your cells in your body conform to the blueprint that exists in the astral. And as the body goes through, the cellular growth, it's going according to the blueprint that has already been predetermined, and that's basically coming out of 4D, but ultimately it's controlled by 5D and the higher self. Yet when you go above that into 6D, you're going into more of a collective, and it gets to be larger collectives as you go up in the densities, ultimately heading up into the realm of archetypes.
Hey, Renee, great to see you. Great to see you guys. Awesome. So great to see everybody in the chat. It feels so good to have everyone here. Yeah, we're definitely going through some major changes, which can ripple through time space, not in a linear way, but in all kinds of ways that we're not accustomed to in our 3D bodies.
Yeah, so, you have to be careful. It's like some people here, they're saying Atlas is Nibiru, Zeta talk. No, we definitely don't get that at all. We don't feel that energy by it. This one is looking kind of blue-green here, and this, again, Comet Swan, too. You have Comet Swan, which does feel like a very large benevolent energy as well. They always want to basically harvest as much fear as they can, because, again, that's how they feed certain entities that do carry out again, the handiwork of the dark control system. When you look, this is the Sahara. When you look all around Earth, and with LiDAR now, we're discovering, man, there are tons of big cities in the Amazon. This is the Sahara Desert. Now, there are maps from the 1550s that show a green Sahara. How could that possibly be? Like, not even 500 years ago? Well, again, when you look at a lot of these, patterns, it's again showing us that there's been so many civilizations before us that it gets you wondering, how many resets have we had? This is Stefan Burns saying, so Saturn's condensing energy waves to a point at its pole and beaming it out to space. We touched on this last time. Saturn, the natural object, is a benevolent yet can be tough, like tough love father, so to speak, astrologically. But again, the dark control system is not just here on Earth, and they are using Saturn to control frequency in our particular solar system.
Yeah, which isn't nice, because it's just, I think we're all kind of tired of being controlled. We want to break out of that matrix. Enough is enough.
So lightly touch on some geopolitical now. And you see here, the leader of Israel, who is meeting with Trump on Monday. And here he's saying there's going to be no two-state solution. When you look at what's going on, and boy, did Christoph, the Polish psychic, do a good one today. And this one, he had just done a live today, about an hour before we got on. So I was looking through it, and this is probably why they have put the blockade up again around the White House area in D.C. because Netanyahu will be there to meet with Trump on 9/29. Again, we're in that time period. We have Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and I'm really looking towards October 1st, and between now and the 1st or so, could there be some significant geopolitical event? This was what was mentioned the other day, where Melania and 47 going on the escalator, and right when they go on the escalator, UN, what happens? Boom, stops.
Wow.
It was so obvious, and it's something that, again, was absolutely sabotage. As you see, 47 rages after UN escalator and teleprompter mishaps. Well, it's because, the system doesn't really like him. And, like him or dislike him, yes, I don't see any politicians as white hats ultimately. I think it's all shades of gray. But it was interesting what Christoph was picking up. And this is the official channel of Christoph, which this one has 356,000 subscribers. So you just have to go into the settings and put the CC on and change it to English because it's in Polish. But it was fascinating because he said that he picked up that whole thing happened with that, not Charlie Brown, but the other one, not last name Brown, because that was preemptive is what he got. It was a preemptive thing because he was getting too, drawing too many people in. And it was very fascinating because, here he says that they were looking to have, he sees this control group that's here, the shadow group. And they were actually looking to make early elections in the U.S. To perhaps have 47 replaced early. And it was fascinating to see this because he says they don't like him, that the control system doesn't like him. And he goes into very interesting discussion about the control system. And he's been getting so much information lately that is boggling his mind. And he keeps saying, sounds strange, or that he's uncomfortable with sharing these things because they sound crazy and illogical. But this is what he's picking up. And this is, again, somebody that has worked on finding missing people with the police. He's very, very gifted. I think he is like our time period's Alois Ermiler. And what he's picking up the end of Israel, really. He sees 2 or 3 countries coming together to hit Israel, and he sees many people in Israel choosing to move out of there and to leave it. He also sees the funeral of the guy that's coming Monday to meet with President Trump, the one we were just talking about. He sees his funeral coming up in the relatively near future. So we're talking major, major changes. He also sees that there's some sort of quietly agreed upon deal where the U.S. kind of hands off Ukraine, and at the same time Russia will hands off the Middle East. And that's what has been going on. But he also sees, unfortunately, like he's getting here, emergence of new diseases that will only be possible after certain events have happened, like what happened before about 5 years ago, if you know what I mean. People that are going to have problems communicating and functioning. Unfortunately, there's something big coming that he has seen in that light. But again, I think we can do our best to keep ourselves as healthy as possible by detoxing, by, again, taking care of mind, body, spirit. Now, this is what he picked up here, that this group, this dark shadow group, is right now in the process, and it happened a while ago, it's beginning a while ago, of reducing the amount of people that are in certain areas, like the US and Europe, through various means, which again really get you thinking about those DEA/GEL numbers, right? They sure do. United States, Canada, and Europe. The thinning of, if you had a group of sheep, you would call them a herd, wouldn't you? Or is that just cows, cattle? You know what I mean? But this is the process, and it's underway, is what he's saying. And he also, in this one, was picking up some stuff that I'd never heard him say before, saying that 47 knows about this and is against it. And also the fact that he also says Russia's actually against it, as is some other European countries. And, they're not actively doing the same thing as what's happening in the US, Canada, and Europe. So a lot of fascinating information that he picked up again psychically in this particular session. It was one of his better ones for sure. So it exposes, the redos that have been done in the past. Did you know? I've been meaning to bring this up. Did you know that there were cases where Indigenous American women would go in for help with feminine issues, including childbirth, and then they came away unable to reproduce again because they were basically, when you take a cat or a dog in to get them spayed or neutered, well, this was something that was going on with us, major populations here of people that came from what we would call first world nations. It's just, there's so much coming out right now, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to handle what's really been going on.
Yeah, that was really nasty, and they've done that to so many people where they're afraid that they might have abilities, or they might be able to do things that leave them independent from the system, so they don't want them to reproduce. They treat them just like cattle. It's awful.
Yeah, so he doesn't understand everything that he's getting, but he gets stuff, and then it's again stuff that it makes him feel a little uncomfortable. But he's a very, very gifted man, very gifted, and we thank Peter in Poland. He does see also a major revolution taking place somewhere, where if you're familiar with Italy after World War II, what happened to Mussolini and his mistress, very, very similar circumstances. He didn't give the location. He probably didn't see it exactly, or I'm not sure if he wanted to share it. But he sees a major revolution taking place, and the people will round up the leadership, and then that'll be that. So yeah, there are big changes directly ahead.
So Bob Hawk, there's going to be a link in the description on how to find him.
Yeah, I put it in so it'll pop up automatically. Just open up the more info drop down. Christoph is a gem. He really is. He's very, very gifted. I've seen him nail dozens of visions come true in just the last year and a half, 2 years. Dozens. It's been really interesting to see him work. So, he says we're in a bad position because really the only thing that could stop what's going on is a WW3, and then WW3 is kind of unthinkable in and of itself. So we're in a tough spot. We are in a tough spot, but I think, I think we can overcome. I think we are, actually. I do think we're blowing away the worst of the timelines, and it's just a matter of awakening as many people as possible. There are good people, we know some ourselves, embedded in all the different political systems. Again, there are people that their higher self is coming more in tune with them, more in alignment, and so they will, when the time comes, do the right thing and help humanity, not suppress it. So very fascinating, very, very fascinating what he shared. When you think about meltology, have you ever watched John Levy and others? There's so many out there. Look at this. Can't you see where, I think it's easy to see that so much of our past is right there, right in front of our faces. What would an intense directed energy weapon turn a city of skyscrapers into, especially after hundreds or thousands of years?
I know. I mean, these things can be so beautiful, but so haunting. I mean, you can't help but just wonder what happened.
Yeah, this looks like it's a snake, but no, it's a hollow metallic rod. Again, I was watching an interview today with two very well-informed gentlemen, and they were talking about how did they exactly get free energy away from the people that were used to free energy. When we think to Tartaria, which wasn't that long ago, how did they take it from us? When you look to some of the most amazing inventions, isn't that crazy? I think a lot of people channel when it comes to things like this. Tesla was a great channeler. He was a channel. Absolutely. This over here is, again, we're talking about LiDAR and different mounds, and think about the giants. The giants had that bullseye on them. They were wiped out, pretty much. There still are some, but then there are also others that have gone up in frequency where they're just outside of the range of the system. The system can't get them anymore. Look to the Anasazi. Where did they go? Again, whole cultures have ascended.
Oh yeah, and they continue to. They just disappear. I mean, I don't know who writes a lot of the Wikipedia pages, but some of the stories they put in there about how certain places were built and how quickly, all these buildings went up. How come someone can't really question these things? It irritates me.
Yeah, and this is from Barron Trump News. Look at this tweet. They didn't just erase Tartaria, they reset the entire timeline. 1776 wasn't just a year of independence. It was the year they took control, the banks, the narrative, the world, and the Red Shields right at the center of it all. It's again, it's always been right in our face. And yet there are definitely higher up families than the Red Shields and the Rockefellers. Again, those are the ones that are out there for display. And again, that taking of the name, Rothschild from Bauer, was basically about being a shield for the other families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And this is what we have playing on the cast of characters with this go round.
Yeah, absolutely. And now just too many people know. Too many people know. So how do we, speed things up? Well, get to the ones that don't know. And yes, some people will just not be able to understand all this, and some people will be in denial. Yet, it's coming out, and the paradigm is shifting. Don't worry, too. You know where you can get a hug if you need one.
Our furry friends, they're really our angels, and, as long as we do right by them, I think life is going to be good.
Yeah, and again, Lyrans, for instance, again, the Lyran Wars, the Orion Wars. This is very real. We have a lot of allies. We do. And our allies are showing themselves, too, whether we recognize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So Cindy's going to do us a tuning
yes,
here.
And first I just want to thank everyone who really helped us out. Thumbs up and everything, but really say a huge thank you to Israel, Diana, Apollo, Lindsay, Bob. You guys help us keep it going time after time, allowing us to do this great work. So here we go with some tunes. Think happy thoughts. Have a really happy thought in mind. And here we go. Okay, you guys, drink lots of water after this. Take care, source bless, and namaste.
Much love, guys. Thank you so much. Namaste.